I'm your host Luke, and with me today is Nick
Yep, I am here as usual.
and and Mr. Tail of the Toaster himself.
As opposed to Master Tale of the Toaster back when I was under 18.
We are coming to
Evening.
you. We are coming to you tonight. After this is the History Podcast After Dark, 3 a.m. on a Boxing Day morning, and
Oh,
here is your late Christmas treat. A look at everybody's favourite big chicken.
Yeah, I feel that everyone's just had their turkeys on Christmas dinner, and then as the backup, in case they ran out of actual turkey, they had a chicken in the freezer as well, which we didn't need to eat because there was way too much meat already, and so we've just got to make a podcast about it instead.
yeah, and this machine certainly isn't a turkey in the war zone, is it, my friends?
Thanks for giving us that one.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, he doesn't get the joke. Thanksgiving?
Oh.
Anyone?
Yeah, I did understand it, but you didn't need to make it even
Right,
more
well, we'll
obvious.
just move straight on to Robochicken's core design then, because as we know, this faithful and friendly machine, entered by the wonderful sportsmen of Jason Snow, Alec Dick, and their two friends, Farron White and Tyler Booth, depending on the series, they were there for a laugh and to deliver their puns, but did so on a machine which steadily got better and better as time went on. It was never particularly terrible to begin with, but it was certainly perceived as the joke, starting with its Series 4 design and carrying through all of its design. It is a classic flipper on the front and axe on the back, or axe on the front and flipper on the back, depending on how you perceive the young chicken. Certainly by Series 7 we would associate it as a flipper on the front, but for Series 4, its official shot is taken from the axe side, and as is the many, many official images of it. But right now, for Series 4, they've got a bit of a slower flipper, but still fairly wide to cover a lot of the base. The axe is separate, and it goes straight into their campaign with a very, very tough draw against the third seed, Razor. And Velociraptor as well.
Yeah. And
What did we think about
this
that
is
fight, lads?
well, it's what we kind of see here and in the next fight against Pussycat is this robot takes a fucking beating and a half. Like the Robochicken gets brutalized by two of the nastiest weapons this heat, and it keeps on trucking just about. Certainly takes a beating here.
Yeah, and you think that it's not even against... It's not against even a flipper or anything, which in the classic series is enough to dislodge internals. No, it's against a rather frightening spinning disc for the armour that most 80 kilogram and lower machines will have, and Razor. So it must be pretty well balanced, shall we say, with where its internals are to avoid taking any major damage. It has a specific bit right behind its axe shaft where there's so much space that Razor actually plunges into, and it is just air. There's a massive air gap. So even though it probably wasn't a design principle that they took in mind to keeping the internals safe, I'll give them the credit because it actually ended up working and helping fend off Razor just about enough for them to progress in the end here.
Yeah, especially because this fight was a deliberate attempt to team up on Robochicken. One of our good wiki friends, Deator, had met up with Trevor Wright at an event and, quizzed him about the battle and how Velociraptor could possibly manage to bodge this one. And yeah, like Trevor Wright confirmed, the whole plan was for those two robots to work together. Razor to go entirely for Robochicken, while Velociraptor would just stay lined up in case it was needed to ram one of them from behind. But after minutes on end of Razor just failing to kill Robochicken. They eventually leave it in a CPZ where it looks kind of like it's turning on one wheel, so they think, alright, maybe we've finally finished off the chicken. Razor's just going to have a pop at Velociriptor now and one-hit KO it, which it could have done this entire time when they were bullying Robochicken for 2.5 minutes. They then just crush Velociriptor once and kill it.
Well, yeah.
And Robochicken is still alive after all of that.
And
they're KO'd a little bit afterwards. They are immobile by the end of this fight, but they survive plenty long enough.
Yeah. And this fight isn't just a fight which affects these competitors in the moment, because this fight goes on to affect Trevor Wright for his entire Robot Wars career afterwards. We all wonder where he gets his retreating style from. Well, can you blame him when he tried to stay out of this one and then Razor attacks it once and kills it? So, of course, for the rest of his Robot Wars career, he's just going to avoid everything possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even Velociriptor's most limp death. We've seen them die to being wedged under by the alien.
Yeah, when you can imagine that Velociriptor would have died by roadblock prizing underneath it, then that is pretty bad, but...
Its immobilization in the Extreme 2 Tag Team Terror literally can't be attributed to anything.
Yeah. Which is hilarious considering how durable it was in Series 7, but nevertheless, Robochicken does progress from this one. And as Luke hinted at a little bit earlier, it goes on to face a robot that is slightly improved for Series 4, Pussycat.
Yeah, you know, what a gauntlet run. Just going from the 3rd seed and reigning world champion to the eventual runner-up and future 2nd seed. What more can you do to get rid of this poor old chicken?
Well, yeah, I mean, Philippa, before the gauntlet, would always introduce the devilish house robots you'd have to navigate through to get through the gauntlet. In this case, well, yeah, as you say, Robochicken has Razor, then Pussycat. And then, well, it would have probably fought Razor again in the Heat Final if it got through, so...
Yeah. Just to make matters worse.
Oh.
It's kind of paralleled by Robochicken's US equivalent, which would be Psycho Chicken. That was in a heat also with the reigning runner-up in its... Well, it fights the Revolutionist, the reigning runner-up, in its 2nd fight, and that's after it fights Propellerhead in the 1st round, which would go on to make the grand final and be one of the most statistically successful spinners in all of Robot Wars. What is it with this show and chickens? It just doesn't want to give them a hope.
The amount of damage Robochicken has suffered by the end of this fight is truly mind-boggling. You can look at it for minutes and find new bits that have been torn apart.
Yeah. Both of its wheels are visible. There's slices everywhere. The eyes are gone. At one point, Pussycat buries its blade into Robochicken, reverses to lift the robot up, and then tries to back under it and push it against the wall. Closest Pussycat's ever going to come to getting an ooter on somebody. But everything happens to Robochicken in this fight, and yet it's not even fully immobilized.
No.
It just loses drive on one side, and then the house robots go for it. And even after the house robot punishment concludes, it's still going on one side. It's absolutely remarkable how durable Robochicken was throughout this heat. It was a valiant competitor. But I think we understand why we never saw it in any side competition.
Yes, I was just about to say, I would have loved to have seen this thing in the Pinball or the Tag Team Terror, or even show off its...
I think they'll get that chance.
Or even show off its durability in the Annihilator.
Oh, gosh.
Imagine that after having these fights.
Yeah.
But, no, we got...
How do
We got enough.
How do we think Bulldog Breed 2 and Robochicken Series 4 would cope as a team?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, it would be a rematch between Bulldog Breed and Bigger Brother, I guess. But, yeah, we got plenty enough content out of Robochicken in Series 4. Sadly, it wasn't able to show much in terms of its own attacking power, but can you blame the thing? Its main objective here was to survive as long as possible, so credit is due, as we have said.
And as further credit, it got nominated for Best Newcomer and Most Original. It lost to Tornado and Gemini respectively, which, yeah, but nice try.
Yeah, a nomination in those categories is very much
Yes.
worth Robochicken coming along, but obviously there's always going
Especially
to be
something
better.
as credible as Most Promising Newcomer,
Yeah.
because that is saying outright, we think this could do well in the future. And they weren't wrong, in all fairness.
No.
It was just a bit of a while until they showed that promise.
Yeah, the Most Promising Newcomer award wasn't really justified based on Robochicken's comeback appearance in Series 5, where they're now going by the name of Robochicken Evo.
Oh,
So for this, they've gone up to 99 kilograms and they've refined their flipper so it's more of a lifting arm that stands out at the back of the robot instead of being a full wedge design. The axe is still a separate mechanism on the front, fairly useless. They've gone for a rollover design on top, maybe as an intended stream mech, but I don't think it was going to work.
yeah, I think, again, that was probably a case of this time, probably an intended air gap for the internals, because the amount of space that would have left inside is quite remarkable, but...
Speaking of air is literally a core part of the robot's design, because next to the axe, they've just got random turbine engines
Oh, that's so funny.
as a design. I never really got why that was there, but I kind of want to just crop them out and put them on the back end of Apollo, where it was always just curiously empty on that back panel. And I'd even said to the team on a Facebook post, you could just put some like rocket engines on the back. It solidifies the spaceship theme and stops it from being literally just a white semicircle on the back of your robot. But they weren't interested. But Robochicken got there first, thankfully.
Well, yeah, I
With its
mean, it is...
turbine-powered front.
It is Robochicken evolved, isn't it? So this is showing its evolution. You've got to give him some credit there. But as we said, as we used to lead into this segment, it didn't exactly go to plan in the arena in Series 5 for Robochicken, did it now?
In fairness, it came up against Crush Station, and I mean, Crush Station is one of those. Crush Station's a weird bot because you never quite know how it's gonna do.
Yeah.
But Crush Station has given bots a hell of a lot better than Robochicken some serious trouble. I mean, it goes on in this heat to hit Behemoth, which no one expected. It in the next series, it pretty much is beating Chaos 2 for most of it, but Robochicken still gives a good account of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not dumb that down.
No.
We'll chuck it in now. This was a split decision. It goes all the way to the judges, and one of the judges thought that Robochicken Evo had won. And I do personally think the judges did get it right, because Crush Station, however minor it may be, it was the only one to cause a tiny bit of damage, crumpling the top armor of Robochicken ever so slightly, grabbing hold of the flipper for a bit, and certainly Crush Station was completely unharmed. It was just turned over a couple of times and then eventually pushed into the CPZ. Honourable performance from Robochicken Evo. It's its best performance to date because it actually gets attacks in, goes the whole distance like we know it to do, and yeah, nearly makes it through to the point where the Crush Station team thought they had lost just before they were declared the winners.
Yeah.
So there is a timeline where Robochicken Evo gets flipped over by Behemoth in one go. And then,
Another one flip KO for that machine.
yeah, on the shelf with General Carnage and Chomp a lot from a different timeline. General Carnage. Anyway,
General
so,
Champsalot.
yeah, you can't one flip that. But no, so that's unfortunately all we get to see from Robochicken Evo, because it's not in Extreme. But in fairness, out of all the robots to lose in the first round of Series 5, Robochicken gets by far the most screen time, because they get a fight which is fully broadcast for way longer than many fights. They get a solid 2.5 minutes of this. They get a pre-fight interview, they get a post-fight interview, and it's even in the JP recap.
Wow.
So what more can you want? The JP recap in the grand final leading up to that point, of course. They thought this fight was important enough to call back to. So, yeah, results-wise, not a good Series 5, but they still get what they came for. Then we get on to Series 6, where Robochicken has once again evolved their design, and this is probably the first hint of a truly competent Robochicken we see in terms of design. It's taken the core principle of Robochicken Evo, of a fully powered thin flipper, along with a separate axe on the back, but now it's a more conventional wedge shape again, and it's a much faster robot on the whole, and they're starting to get some control behind it too. This is a nice little design. What do we think, lads?
I agree. But I must say that going from the wind turbines and that beautiful luscious yellow in Series 5 to the rather stupid looking rockets and the very pale yellow does not look nice. I cannot give it credit in that area, I'm afraid.
It's a pretty anemic yellow.
I firmly
It's pretty
agree.
anemic yellow. It's I'd definitely say the ugliest and probably the most boring of the designs.
Agreed. And honestly, though, I mean, we are giving it credit here, and it is coming towards its more logical design, but as we'll come to find out, Robochicken could have done with the Series 5 rollover design in this fight. So, yeah. Design flaw. Should have stuck with what you had, lads.
Robochicken Evo just makes the second round in Series 6 and fights Firestorm for another one flip.
Oh dear.
All of these alternate timelines where Robochicken gets through, there's not very much waiting for it, is there? I'm sure there's an alternate timeline where it did lose to Razor and Velociraptor, and it's probably happier with that one. It's always just Behemoth and Firestorm. We'll cross Series 7 when we get to that.
And it's going to be relevant again.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But here, Robochicken does perform respectably enough in the fight. I don't think it was in any sort of position to make it through on a judge's decision had they survived, but they get a few little lifts on both Spirit of Scorpion and Barbaric Response at different times. They're showing off their brand new top speed pretty well, but in the end, when it comes to a head, the melee's been carrying on for a long time and nobody's been KO'd yet. Robochicken is ultimately the first to fall in quite a unique attack, really. There's little else like it when Exterminator wedges under Robochicken and flips it over using its axe, and Robochicken had no way back from that because it can't self-right.
No. But funny thing is, as you say, it probably wasn't doing quite enough to win a judge's decision, but if it had kept moving, then it would have got through anyway because both Spirit of Scorpion and Barbaric Response stopped working. So
that's absolutely right. And it would have saved us a whole lot of mild controversy as well, because to this day I don't know why Barbaric Response went through.
Yeah.
Spirit of Scorpion and Barbaric Response died at the exact same time in this fight, so Exterminator saves the judges the headache and just pushes one of them into the pit, but then they're like, nah, so you know when Exterminator did us that favour and told us which one to put through? We're going to reverse that and put Barbaric Response through instead of Spirit of Scorpion. Why? Don't ask why.
Yeah.
But that's, even after that pitting takes place, that's not actually the end of the fight, because Robochicken gets a little bit of extra credit out of this battle. And that is that they are the first victim of the drop zone.
Yes. Now, just before we get to that, I must give a dishonourable mention to Jonathan Pierce here for when Robochicken is in the pit, he tells the Killalot to get it out and put it on the drop zone, fully well knowing that obviously Killalot is about to pick it out. So, you know, I'm sure Mike, Mr. Psycho, would not be happy with that foreshadowing, this very important foreshadowing where we see the drop zone in action. But, yeah, we do get the drop zone, and Jonathan Pierce's reaction to this is a bit more entertaining, with the rather emphatic, heroic, "It's still alive!" when Robochicken gets hit on the head by the washing machine.
Yeah, I do like that, because when Sir Killalot pulls Robochicken out of the pit, he puts it back on its wheels, and they're perfectly mobile. They're sat on the drop zone, and they could just drive away, but after taking so much damage from Razor and Pussycat in the past, they're used to it by now. They want the extra punishment on their machine, and they just let themselves get hit by the washing machine, only moving afterwards to show that they're still alive!
Yeah, I mean, and the washing machine technically did less damage than bloody Crustacean did, so even less credit to the drop zone there.
But that is the end of Robochicken's Series 6 campaign, and it's not especially been a successful run in Robot Wars thus far. They get one win purely on survival, and then 3 straight losses.
Yeah.
So Extreme 2 rolls around, and they decide that Robochicken needs its fate reversing.
Yes.
Seen as a clear joke robot by this point, with its terrible track record, jokey team full of foul puns, they think, we need to partner it up with something serious for a laugh. And they contact Tony Summerfield of the Bulldog Breed team and say, can we put Bulldog Breed and Robochicken on a tag team? And he says, sure, why not?
Literally.
That's what happens.
Literally that. But you know,
It is worth noting the change in Robochicken's design, though, because it's functionally the same robot as in Series 6, but this time they actually made it look nice.
oh, they did. They went back to those wings, flamed wings, and a lovely yellow. So, full credit there. Thank you, Robochicken guys. This is why you were part of the Best Design nomination. So, you've earned those stripes back again.
Yeah, not so much for your big bottle rockets.
Yeah, exactly.
You can retire that one for good.
Yeah.
I mean, Robochicken in this tag team, it does technically become a trophy holder, a tournament winner, but I think it's pretty safe to say it contributes maybe 10% of that.
Now, Luke, I'm sorry, but can you please tell me who was nominated for the best newcomer out of these two machines?
That is true.
Yeah.
I mean, if Robochicken didn't lead that attack on a beached, burning Deator where it kind of pecks away a bit, Tony Summerfield might not have had the kind of confidence boost from that to be able to take the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, he would have just turned into a nervous driver against Lightning and just bottles it completely.
Yeah, well, considering
Drives down the pit, I've had enough.
considering Tony Summerfield did actually drive directly into the arena wall against an immobile Hard, then yes, I can absolutely believe your theory here with Deator. Oh.
And so, well, all in all, I think Robochicken deserves the 15th seed for Series 7. It's a tournament winner. Bulldog Breed got a seed.
Yeah, and
Where's the justice for the chicken?
yeah, rather notably though, in this first round battle, Robochicken gets revenge on Pussycat.
Yeah, it doesn't get involved with the avenging process whatsoever. It hasn't even left its CPZ before Bulldog Breed has already chucked Pussycat over the arena wall.
Yeah.
But statistically, that's a thing that happened.
Yeah, Pussycat was all out of cluck. Move on.
And they prove that they are the ultimate joke team at this point by earning their combat win over Deator, who would not appear in Classic Robot Wars again, but Robochicken would persist and keep up with their silly jokes.
Yeah.
But that's literally all they got to do in the first fight, just peck a beaten Deator after Bulldog Breed had done all of the work. But they do get to do a little bit more in the second round against Lightning and the Steel Avenger, where one of the KOs is attributed to Robochicken when they flip the Steel Avenger over and it doesn't come back.
Yes. The Steel Avenger has some rather, shall we say, low-key embarrassing moments on the show. I don't think this quite gets enough attention for just how bad it is. But yeah, I think I would rather give the credit to Robochicken because it was a good side flanked attack. Ian Lewis would be proud of the driving, so
Yeah, it wasn't their first flip on Steel Avenger within the match either.
No.
Robochicken gets a nice lift earlier on as well. It's certainly not involved with lightning whatsoever. That's entirely Bulldog Breed's job. But although I think Bulldog Breed probably could have managed to KO the Steel Avenger, as it would go on to do many, many times in John Findley's live events, because he owns both machines and lets you drive one of them for a total of £70, you get to see Robochicken earn its place in the final somewhat with this combat victory.
I think if you're the Steel Avenger team in this, you like emphasize that I lost to Bulldog Breed and Robochicken.
Yes, driving the Steel Avenger at a live event, £70. Robochicken eliminating the Steel Avenger via KO, priceless. Oh dear.
Sadly, their beautiful alliance would come to an end in their final battle after dispatching of Hydra and Barbaric Response.
Yes, you see, this is where Bulldog Breed gets jealous of Robochicken taking the limelight. Because, as we see with Hydra obviously malfunctioning, that was just one of those things, and Barbaric Response just getting axed to death, Bulldog Breed offers very little in this fight, so it was jealous of Robochicken axing the back of Barbaric Response off, which, I may add, actually loosened and caused so much internal wear that it helped Mr. Psycho eventually hammer it off. Without Robochicken's involvement, it wouldn't have come off. And,
one would like to think.
yes. I must add, though, that attack with the axe on the back panel, that is just like 4 years later, the exact same replica of JP saying Mortis is causing more... Shunt is causing more damage to Mortis. You could take the commentary and put it over this, and it would be the exact same thing.
Barbaric Response! Pepper Barbaric Response!
And Barbaric Response is taking more damage!
I mean, if we do overlook the KO on the Steel Avenger, then that series of Robochicken attacks was pretty much what the entire episode had been building up to. Because this was Robochicken's trophy lift, and with their actual KO being ignored, we were all waiting for it to do something, and it does. Barbaric Response is already dead, but they get their pecs, and then Bulldog Breed just flips them over.
Yeah, as if you guys weren't already wondering what the the timeline of Bearmoth and Firestorm one flip KOing Robochicken would have led to in Series 7. We got our answer anyway right here, because the semi-final matchup that would have happened in Series 7 happens here, and it is rather brief.
But worth throwing in there, I'd never want to cut out that attack of Bulldog Breed flipping Robochicken.
I wonder who did cut it out, hey?
Slightly raised eyebrow.
Hi, Mike.
But maybe it's the fact that Bulldog Breed flipped Robochicken over and for a second time they couldn't self-right that inspired Team Robochicken to once again upgrade their robot for the 7th Wars. By design, it still cannot self-right, but they have completely changed the way the flipping mechanism works for this brand new version of Robochicken. It keeps the same kind of wedge design that we saw in Extreme 2 with the lovely feathery design, which looks better than ever now. Looking absolutely beautiful, my man Robochicken.
Yeah.
But what they've done here is taken a page out of the 8645T book and actually merged the flipper and the rear axe into a single weapon powered by one pneumatic ram. So, and of course TR2 is included in there as well somewhere. The three flipper axe designs of Robot Wars Very, very different, all of them. But Robochicken can now attack from either side with the same weapon, but also it has no reason whatsoever to use its rear axe now, because they've also got a third weapon hiding in there with a vertical spinner, we'll generously call it, on the back of the design.
Yes, or the Rooster Rotivator, as the team called it. Yes.
Precisely. And it's not the worst. It spins at a decent little speed. It throws sparks upon contact with robots.
Yeah.
It definitely works.
Yeah. Luke, do you have any opinion on this devilish weapon?
Sometimes when you've got the extra weight, you don't technically need to use it. They could have used this to really beef up that axe. Get themselves, like, I don't know, kilohertz CV3 levels of it.
Yeah, or even beefed up their armour, maybe. But
Maybe.
Instead, they probably watched the Barbaric Response axe attack footage about 50 times in between Extreme 2 and Series 7 and thought, yeah, maybe we do need to get damage points in some way. So they added something which couldn't really get them damage points.
Robochicken. Flipper axe. Vertical spinner.
Roll over. Not.
Robochicken. Foul flipper. Rooster rotivator. Axe bot.
Lovely paint job. Shout out to the extra black in the Series 7 paint job, by the way. I love that.
Yeah, very attractive design overall. And not so bad in combat either, as it turned out. They have got a devilish first round draw, where once again they show they just really want to get rid of the chicken. And they put it up against a fellow trophy holder from a series of Robot Wars Extreme in Disco Inferno, alongside another spinner in Blades of Destruction, and the promising Dutch newcomer of Tough as Nails all at once. Robochicken was not favoured to make it out of this. Tough as Nails was an unproven design at the time, but we all knew how good Disco Inferno was, and Tough as Nails, they at least seemed very confident about their design, whereas Robochicken was still going in there as a joke. And you never know, maybe Bod had secretly been watching some propeller head footage and could have been... Okay, I can't say it seriously, I just can't say it. It was an improvement over Knight Raider though, so well done on that, lads.
Oh. Did they actually make that machine?
I'm dead serious.
Oh, Christ.
Bod was the follow-up to Knight Raider, a robot which entered Extreme 2 and couldn't even move.
Wow.
So, there's always someone worse than you.
Yeah.
Tell that to Bod. Speaking of Bod, Robochicken flips them over in one shot.
Yeah, it's a really clean flip as well, isn't it? It's one of the first times where Robochicken does get a clean flip in its entire career. So you can see that despite it only being Bod, there is clear upgrades here to the flipper power because... Whoa, it is a very clean toss. It's straight on its back is Bod, and the gyro effects of its horizontal spinner do not keep it in the air like Typhoon 2, so there must be extreme power in Robochicken's flipper there to outweigh the devilish RPMs of Bod's blade, so fair play.
Yeah, I mean, just compare the flips from Robochicken on Steel Avenger to Robochicken on Bod. There is a massive difference, as evidenced by the massive release of CO2, which wasn't there before. It's essentially transitioning from a lifter into a flipper almost.
Yeah. The lift on the Steel Avenger was very much the definition of a lift, where the Steel Avenger kind of went up an escalator, shall we call Robochicken's lifter, and then fell off the side. But here it is. It is a really nice flip, and
the Steel Avenger's on the run! It's piggybacks!
But I must say that a lot of flippers obviously have their different type of flipping style, and I really like Robochicken's. It's very aesthetically pleasing seeing its long arm going really high, and Robochicken wheelies itself up slightly as well, and it's just a really nice arcing motion that its flipper does. So
proper thrusts the
yeah,
robot
exactly.
into the air, and if not for the axe head on the back, it may just go all the way over.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost. But another thing to mention about this fight is the rest of it. And, you know, we all, certainly I thought that Disco Inferno could have romped this. Robochicken was a very frailly armoured kind of robot for it to rip up, but it just didn't get the chance, because, oh boy, we were believing in Tough as Nails by the end of this fight. Disco Inferno is gone before Robochicken's even finished with Bod.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, with Tough as Nails getting Disco Inferno out of the way, Robochicken has suddenly found himself qualifying out of this melee. But it didn't stop them from getting pitted by Tough as Nails after the fact.
No, it did not. But Robochicken put up a decent fight. It was hardly a Tough as Nails domination job.
Yeah, but just watching Robochicken fighting Tough as Nails post-melee victory here, it didn't exactly inspire confidence that if Robochicken and Tough as Nails were to fight again, that Robochicken would have much of a hope at all.
No. Oh,
that pretty much told us everything we need to know. Should that fight happen again? That's
an idea for the next April Fool's Day episode. I should do another Ultimate Countdown-esque April Fools and take the Heat final commentary and put it over the melee battle between Robochicken and Tough as Nails. I'm sure that would be an exciting watch.
I don't think anyone would know.
Exactly.
It's not exactly a David McLachlan ooter.
No, not quite. This is Robochicken trying to flip Blades of Destruction out of the arena. And succeeding. That's what he lives for. The entire Robochicken team.
I mean, come on. Robochicken entered a fight with Pussycat and it ended with Pussycat getting thrown out of the arena.
This is Robochicken trying to flip Pussycat out of the arena.
That's come down with Jason Snow. Moving very swiftly onto the second round then. Robochicken has just absolutely fluked the draw of dreams here. I don't know what was going through the producers' minds when they thought, okay, so Panic Attack dominated its opening melee and is the seed. Tough as Nails beat all three robots in its melee and proved itself to be a contender for the Heat. Let's have the seed and the favourite face off with Panic Attack and Tough as Nails in the second round. Robochicken can fight Megamorg, whatever.
Yeah, I think we are at the point in its career where Robochicken's passed the trials of the producers. They've tried to get rid of it so many times in melees, and now they're just giving it a kind second round fight just to finally make up for their long suffering and pain. And it takes advantage of the draw, doesn't it?
Oh, certainly. You know, because Megamorg and Robochicken, they're both... The similarity is there. They're both teams with yellow robots that love to dress in yellow and focus more on making jokes than actually fighting. But by the end of Robochicken easily defeating Megamorg, they'd essentially evolved into a fighter throughout the process of this one. There's never any point where Robochicken is in danger of losing this one. Megamorg's beached on the arena wall from the outset.
Yeah, that is rather amusing. But yeah, outside of the rather easy win, just a quick shout out to both of these teams, because as you say, they do offer some comedy, and it was the only really real comedy we got in Series 7 with Sir Chromalot not qualifying.
You don't need to phrase it quite like that.
No, but you know what I mean.
Mute versus Judge Shred 3 says hello. We definitely had funny moments in the series, but it was the only encounter between two comedy teams, which is what you meant.
Yes, with Sir Chromalot failing to qualify, and the Plunderbird guy's no longer here, and Robochicken eliminating Dietor from existence. You know, these two had a bit of the comedic values to share with us, didn't they? And
Even if it meant completely shooing the second round draws to make them the most unbalanced possible lineup.
yeah, but
It was fine.
at least it,
because it meant we got a Robochicken heat fight.
yeah, and at least it gave us that rather amusing pre-match interview with Jane Middlemiss as well. Which
Jane Middlemiss, who described Robochicken at the start of the episode as looking like a big chicken. The interview just starts with, "This looks like a big chicken." And I wish I was making that up.
I think we all wish you were making that up.
yes, and as she says here, she needs them to have more testosterone.
Nick,
Yeah.
Nick, I do like the alternate universe you painted where Robochicken comes up against Sri Miklos Panic Attack and kills it in one shot.
Because that's what the draw really should have been, and I wouldn't put it past Robochicken to win against Panic Attack. Similarly, Robochicken could be defeated in one flip if they keep their head on, which I think they would because they kept it on for the Megamorg fight, and Megamorg's also a flipper.
Yeah.
What if Megamorg got that one flip on Robochicken and they fought tough as nails in the heat final?
I mean, one thing that does need to be considered is at least the genius mind that is Kevin Pritchard knew about Robochicken's axe for Series 7 by putting on that anti-hammer top, so they'd be safe from those attacks. But yeah, this entire potential second round draw just serves up a variety of very interesting matchups, doesn't it?
I'll tell you one more thing I like about the Robochicken Megamorg fight, and that's that after Robochicken was the very first robot to get squashed by the washing machine in the drop zone, just one series later they would go on to win a fight and watch their beaten opponent get flattened by a washing machine instead.
Yeah, unfortunately Megamorg wasn't quite still alive, but that was something that Robochicken was quite happy about, wasn't it? But shout
what
out
they
to
weren't
the
happy about.
shout out to the House Robots for putting the drop zone equipment in the pit, though. Moving on.
But what they weren't happy about was having to fight tough as nails again in the heat final. Oh dear. It didn't exactly go well the first time. How would you have expected this fight to go?
Maybe quite straightforward, shall we say? Yeah,
I think it says a lot when Alec Dick's pre-fight tactics were, we'll probably go in and throw our eyeballs at him. That's usually a good tactic.
Yeah. Safe to say, when I first rewatched this fight, for the first time in a while in 2016, 2015 time, whenever it was that I watched Series 7 again, I remember thinking that Robochicken was going to be mullered, but it didn't get mullered at all. It did very, very well for the good minute and a half of this fight.
Yeah, their closest fight since Crustacean, funnily enough, another gripping weapon. They do enter this fight with a gas leak, which is unfortunate. They're affected by that from the very beginning, and as a result, this is one of the few classic examples in Robot Wars of a flipper running out of gas as the fight goes on. We, especially in the reboot, just never see that happen. But here, Robochicken starts such a good assault on Tough as Nails with flip after flip after flip, nearly getting it out of the arena. Robochicken was well on top, but ultimately the gas leak does affect them towards the end of the fight and they lose the ability to flip. And that's when things in the very closing stages start to change.
Yeah, they spend a good like 5/6 of this fight just clearly in control, clearly the aggressor, clearly just the more impressive bot. But when they do lose that gas, they have a pretty baffling tactic to try and use that small vertical disc we mentioned earlier to damage the first Hardox robot in Robot Wars, I believe.
joint with Dan Tonka, and even that was only for its chassis. So Tough as Nails really was the Hardox pioneer, unless you count Agrabot, maybe. That one isn't proven, but it is referred to as coated in armoured hardened steel.
Yes, high tensile armour, shall we say.
That's it. Yeah, I agree with Luke. The tactic change is what screwed Robochicken out of this, because you see halfway through the fight, even when they're running low on gas, they're still using their wedge shape quite effectively to keep under Tough as Nails and control the fight. But when they decide, okay, without our primary weapon working, let's start to use the vertical disc at the back, they're just casually forgetting that in order to make any contact with Tough as Nails, they need to reverse into it and get caught in the claws.
Well, yeah. They completely open their lovely, well-mounted sides open to the perfect hug from Tough as Nails, whereas when they had the wedge turned towards it, obviously Robochicken goes from being really, really narrow to getting slightly wider and wider and wider from that angle. So Tough as Nails has a harder job getting a hold of it. But as we see, when it's the disc end, it's just a flat area for Tough as Nails to grab hold of.
It's literally just the guy in the street with the cardboard sign saying free hugs. Robochicken just offers it up. It wants to get hugged by Tough as Nails, and this is a crusher that's not really known for causing damage. It's more of a gripper control bot, but here, Robochicken has put so much weight into its 3 weapons that the armour of this machine is still very feeble, and it absolutely just buckles under Tough as Nails. You can't even see it that properly on TV, but Tough as Nails honestly goes straight through it. There is a huge hole in the side of Robochicken, and Tough as Nails isn't going to let up from here. Robochicken does escape at one point, but then they go back in with their disc again, not learning from their mistakes. And although it's only about 30 seconds of late dominance from Tough as Nails, they have managed to score quite significant damage in comparison to absolutely none being caused by Robochicken. And Robochicken has lost a lot of control in the process as well, because they were outright badly controlled in the late stages of this fight. So, as much as it's wonderful to dream about the idea of Robochicken winning a heat of Robot Wars and making the series semi-finals, I do think that despite the Robochicken dominance going on for so much longer, the judges had this one right, because Tough as Nails, in the end, is the better controlled machine and causes far more damage.
Yeah, that's the thing with a robot. When you're fighting a robot like Tough as Nails, like even if you're able to spend like, hell, you can apply this to fights in general. Even if you're able to spend like most of the fight like in control, if you're the kind of robot that can't really inflict like damage or like very visually impressive attacks, then if they can turn it around and inflict something that is more visually impressive, then not only then that leaves the greater impression in the judge's mind. It's a recency bias thing.
Yeah, and coupled with the bad control as the fight wears on, the damage, you also then have the Flipper obviously running out of gas, and that's just going to make Robochicken look visually weak. So
yeah, that's going to impact it in the style category that I forgot about.
Technically.
It's possible that maybe Robochicken could have scraped it on reboot criteria, where aggression is the main factor, because Robochicken was the more aggressive machine throughout. Yeah. But that's arguably the only category it did take in the end, unless they may have edged out control overall, but it's certainly not by a big amount like it would have been just 1 minute prior to the end of the fight.
Yeah, and that's ultimately a big factor when they take the only damage in the fight.
So unfortunately, Robochicken will not face its fellow tag team Terra champion Bulldog Breed in the semi-finals. Tough as Nails gets that right instead. And Robochicken is gone, but not retired at this stage, because after impressing and entertaining throughout its 7th Wars campaign, they're given another shot. and one of only 6 places really in a side competition that's not reserved for an all-star or an international competitor. Robochicken is one of the few machines that gets to running out again in the Annihilator. But you kind of wish it didn't.
They blew it.
Big time. Because, first of all, they know that they're going in with a bunch of flippers. There's Raging Nightmare, there's Ripper, there's U2, there's even Flipper who's still on its way. Robochicken knows that with their current design they can't self-right, so they have to remove the head on the back to grant it the ability to self-right. Sacrifices a bit of charm, it doesn't look as nice, but at least it's now a fairly solid contender for the Annihilator. Or so we thought.
To go from the durable Robochicken that we saw in Series 4 to seeing this being its final KO. Is it its only KO defeat? No, Series 6,
Series
obviously.
6.
But yeah, it lasts its last battle for a grand total of about a second. 2.
Yeah. Ripper's just got that form because it's Ripper that chucks Robochicken over. In this series, they have already managed to flip Daisy Cutter over in 2 seconds, and then Rip flips Mini-Mall over in 2 seconds, and despite that being an invertible machine, they just KO it outright. Similarly here, Robochicken should be able to self-right, but the flipper just isn't working in the first place. And Robochicken manages to accrue a 100% genuine loss to Flipper. Because at least Flipper outlasted Robochicken in this dreadful end to its otherwise very enjoyable and entertaining career. A real shame that it couldn't have ended with the such good fight that is Robochicken versus Tough as Nails. Ultimate Countdown top 50 worthy fight. And instead, no, it ends in what is admittedly still a great fight, but not from Robochicken's perspective.
Yeah. But we will end on a positive note. Why don't we find out what each of us have down as our favourite Robochicken fight overall?
It's a very even contest, isn't it? Apart from the fact that there's the Heat final versus Tough as Nails in there. I think that has to be the runaway winner for me. If I'm to pick a second, I think my favourite Robochicken performance is the Megamorg win. But despite the fact Robochicken was awful in it, second place is probably that same Annihilator fight. Because it's so fun to watch apart from Robochicken's contribution. Or lack thereof.
Well, yeah, as you say, there is a rather even contest, though, because for a joke bot, Robochicken has a surprisingly high amount of high-quality fights. They are both good ones in Series 4. Series 5 is a really good round 1 fight. Series 6 is a solid enough melee. The tag team is a bundle of laughs and joy.
Yeah, Bulldog breeds Uteron Pussycat counts as a Robochicken
Yeah,
fight.
there's no bad fight in its Series 7 Heat, and then the Annihilator is still a good fight outside of Robochicken. So, yeah.
Yeah, don't have any bad fights.
No, I will go for Tough as Nails as my favourite, but I also really like the Crustacean fight as well.
As you've said, there really aren't any bad Robochicken fights. They're amusing if nothing else. I will deviate from the consensus here and go for its fight against Pussycat, which is just... which is in its own way one of the most impressive destruction fights of that series.
Yeah, to come from a little nibbly spinner like that, it was Pussycat's real emphatic sign that it was onto something special. But hey, at least Robochicken wasn't completely plucked for the future, was it?
And so that will sum it up, I think. So thank you all for joining us on the Robot Wars History Podcast. That's been